Hey there guys, this is Cole. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing yet another movie debate video, and today's movie debate video I'm going to be doing is Spider-Man 2 from 2004 versus The Dark Knight and from 2008. And now the thing is with Spider-Man 2 and The Dark Knight, they are both sequels in a part of a movie trilogy, and the Spider-Man movie trilogy released from 2002 to 2007, directed by Sam Raimi, is widely regarded as one of the best movie trilogies of all time, and I would happen to agree with that. And the other trilogy, the Dark Knight trilogy, which began in 2005 with Batman Begins, is regarded as one of the best movie trilogies of all time, and I would happen to agree with that. But the two sequels in those trilogies, Spider-Man 2, released in 2004, directed by Sam Raimi, and The Dark Knight, released in 2008, directed by Christopher Nolan, not only are they considered some of the best sequels of all time, but some of the best comic book movies of all time. And I think that both movies are absolutely fantastic. So, for that reason, I figured, might as well do a debate video on both of these. And I grew up with both of these movies. So, let's get into it. So, the first criteria I have here is the cast. And this is a tough one because I think both movies have a really good cast, but I'm gonna have to give the slight edge to The Dark Knight, because The Dark Knight really, it has some of my favorite actors of all time in movies, like Heath Ledger, Christian Bale, Aaron Eckhart, Morgan Freeman, Gary Oldman, some of my favorite actors of all time. So for that reason, I'll give this point to The Dark Knight in terms of the cast. Now, in terms of the story, and again, I do think that both of these movies do have a good story, but I'm gonna have to give the slight edge to Spider-Man 2 in terms of the story. And the reason I think Spider-Man 2 has the better story is because, do not get me wrong, I really like The Dark Knight. I think it's a good movie, but Joker, do not get me wrong, Heath Ledger was a phenomenal Joker, but I do feel like Batman, he does kind of get a little overshadowed in The Dark Knight because of Heath Ledger's Joker. But what I like about Spider-Man 2 is how our main movie is centered on Spider-Man as a character. And he has an actual character arc in the movie. Like, he's losing, throughout the course of the movie, he starts to lose his, he starts to lose his powers. And he really starts to question himself. Like, do I really want to be Spider-Man anymore? And then, of course, Peter Parker decides to quit being Spider-Man, and, well, Dr. Octopus kidnaps Mary Jane, and Peter Parker starts to realize that him quitting his job as Spider-Man was a horrible idea, and now he must fight Dr. Octopus. And that right there, I think, is a fantastic character arc. So I'll give the slight edge for the story to Spider-Man 2. Now, in terms of the pacing, and I do think that both of these movies are paced well, but I'm going to have to give the slight edge to Spider-Man 2. I don't know. I just think that the pacing's a little better. Now, in terms of the villain, I'm going to have to give the slight edge to... and this is a tough one, because I think that both of these movies have fantastic villains, because what I really like about Alfred Molina as Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 is how he is a sympathetic villain, which I will admit is a trope I am getting a little sick of in movies, but I think Spider-Man 2 is one of the few rare times where it actually works. But I do think that Heath Ledger as Joker does give a better... Now, do not get me wrong, Alfred Molina is a fantastic Dr. Octopus, but I just think between the two, Heath Ledger does give a better performance as playing the Joker. So for the villain, I'll give the slight edge to The Dark Knight. Now, in terms of the action scenes, I'm going to have to give the slight edge to Spider-Man 2. Now, do not get me wrong, I love The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight is a fantastic movie. But as much as I love The Dark Knight, it does not have the best action scenes in terms of how they're directed, because it does have that shaky camera that was present in the Jason Bourne movies. So again, I do like the movie, but it doesn't have the best shot action. But as to where, but on the other hand, however, Spider-Man 2 on the other hand has like flawless action scenes with, really good practical effects. I mean, come on, the whole scene where Spider-Man's trying to stop a train is a very iconic scene, and just I think all the action holds up really well in Spider-Man 2. I mean, minus the exception of some CGI, minus the exception of the whole scene in the burning building, and later on in the movie where Spider-Man's fighting Doc Ock. I mean, minus the exception of those scenes which don't have the best CGI, the rest of the CGI minus that and the practical effects, pretty much everything else about it hold up. So I'll give the slight edge to that. And in terms of the special effects, I'm going to have to give the slight edge to Spider-Man 2 because I think that this movie uses... Now, yes, there is some CGI, but they do use a lot of practical effects. And The Dark Knight I do like, but I do feel like it does use a little more CGI than practical effects. So I'll give the slight edge to Spider-Man 2. And in terms of the opening scene, which movie has a better opening scene? As much as I love both of the opening scenes of this movie, I'm going to have to give the point to The Dark Knight just because I like the setup of, Joker and, the bad guys, Joker's bad guys basically breaking into a bank to rob it. Very good stuff. But yeah. So overall, if you've been paying attention, you know what, and you've added up the points, you know what the winner is. But for me, this was a very tough call because I do really like both movies, but I'm going to say that the overall winner of this round is Spider-Man 2 from 2004 with 4 points, with The Dark Knight at only 1 point behind at 3 points. But the overall winner of this round is Spider-Man 2. So yeah, that was another movie debate video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will catch you guys later. Bye-bye now.